Hello, Cardio Miracle family. Welcome to another live Q&A with a special guest tonight, Dr. Avery Jackson. He will be joining us shortly. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, you guys can add them to the Q&A section in the bottom. Please try to put them there instead of in the chat. It'll be easier for me to keep track. And yeah, we can get going whenever somebody drops a question in. So nitric oxide is a molecule gas that is produced within our cardiovascular system, and it is essential for the relaxation of your vascular system as well as your endothelial lining. When we produce nitric oxide, it also facilitates oxygen within our blood, increasing blood volume and cell uptake within the blood. So it can have many great advantages, all the way from diabetes to high blood pressure. And we help with neuropathy. I've heard of great things from emphysema, COPD, sleep apnea, pretty much across the board. So yeah, let's see if we have any questions yet. All right. What is the impact on high blood pressure? So yes, Linda, the impact on high blood pressure is kind of what I was just talking about. It's going to be the relaxation of the cardiovascular system, and it's also going to soften the cardiovascular system with consistent use. And this is going to be essential for your body to regulate its blood pressure properly so you can get the proper reflexology out of your vascular system. And look who's joined us. It's Dr. Avery Jackson. Hello, Dr. Avery. How are you tonight?
Hey Dave, how are you?
Good, good.
Yeah, glad to be on. You're doing an awesome job fielding the
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you. Yeah, so we'll pass some to you, but if you want to hit on this one a little bit, what is the impact, if any, on high blood pressure?
That's great. So the impact is really it's quite something because of the fact that the nitric oxide in Cardio Miracle helps to dilate blood vessels. It helps to repair blood vessels, and it actually helps to make your platelets and your hemoglobin more pliable, that it has a positive impact. So for the majority of people that we've seen, when people take Cardio Miracle consistently, it actually decreases blood pressure.
Mhm. Amazing. Yeah, we can definitely see that regulation in blood pressure with consistent use. We tell people to take 2 servings a day for 45 to 90 days to really try to see those results because we want to get the remodeling phase of those cells to regenerate in a healthier manner with the proper nutrition.
That's right. That's right. And I see another one is, does it help with osteoporosis? Glad you asked. So one of the things that people don't realize is that Cardio Miracle, again, it's a superfood, and it has nitric oxide in it, which is amazing. It's an anti-inflammatory and a whole host of other reasons. One of the big advantages, and the reason why I'm really fond of it, is because it provides bioavailable vitamin D, and it provides 4 times the amount of that you'd normally see recommended daily allowance. And vitamin D, as you all know, is critical in prevention of osteoporosis as well as prevention of infection and other negative effects when there's disease. And so this is an amazing, amazing piece, because when your vitamin D levels are where they're supposed to be, and you're able to utilize the vitamin D, and that's the bioavailable part. Your bones are getting the nutrient they need, your muscles, and your natural killer T cells. So your inflammatory system quiets down and is kind of protected, and your immune system is upregulated. And so that's just a little bit about the vitamin D story that we're seeing with Cardio Miracle use consistently.
Great answer, Dr. Avery.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Proper nutrition is essential for bone health, blood health, and it all is interconnected. So we really want to work on everything at one time. So bioavailability and product synergy is key with our product.
That's
All right,
right.
I'm gonna read the next question. It's Diane O. Hi, I've been taking it for a while on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, and I noticed I get jittery and very spaced out.
So
Is there
if I could,
anything she can do about? Yeah.
yeah. So
Sorry.
a couple things, Diane. So, it's totally fine to take it on an empty stomach. You can fast with it even, or have a cleanse. If you feel a little jittery, things that you can do is number one, you can add more water to your Cardio Miracle, and that way you're getting hydration plus you're getting the benefits of the Cardio Miracle. So I'd say that'd be the first place to go. Other thing is that remember, because of the fact that it's naturally sweet, it doesn't bump or increase your blood sugars. Okay. Another thing that's wonderful that you can do is you can take Cardio Miracle and you can actually put it in orange juice. So something to consider, and I think that'll really help. So you're not bottoming out your sugar levels in in any way.
No, amazing answer. Amazing answer. Also, with some people, if the B vitamins might give you the jitters in the morning, try taking it with like a light fruit or maybe some carbohydrates, and that can kind of help balance you out a little bit. All right. The next question, are you able to take Cardio Miracle and stop statins and blood thinners if the stent is placed in March of 2025? Now, we have to give a disclaimer that you must approach your doctor for all medical advice regarding any medications or stents, but we do have positive benefits for the cardiovascular system, and Dr. Avery's going to hit on that a little bit.
Yep. And David, you're spot on. Because here's the thing, guys, it's because we don't know your history. We don't know what medications you're on. We don't know how long you've done what you've done. And this is why we ask that you seek your clinician or your internist or the person that's kind of taking care of your overall health, right? It would be unfair for us to make some specific guesses about you individually. Now, having said that, I can tell you that the Cardio Miracle, what we're seeing are signals of benefit. We have a new study that's being started, and from recent past, that in fact the blood pressure is lowered with Cardio Miracle, but also we're seeing repair of the Teflon coating, if you will, or the inside of the veins and arteries. And when that happens, and that's part of your nitric oxide L-arginine complex, which occurs across the wall of the blood vessel, we're seeing repair there. And when that happens, you're going to have less cholesterol buildup and less plaque buildup.
Great, amazing. Yeah, remember, take it consistently, and that's where we see the best results with removal of plaques and proteins.
Yep, that's right.
All right. All right, the next question is from Diane again. Also, is it okay to take it with other supplements at the same time? Is it okay to take with NAC? We do contain a good amount of NAC that's highly bioavailable, about 250 milligrams per serving. So just keep that in mind. And we also contain some glutathione to really help the facilitation of said NAC.
Right. And to add, here's the thing. With Cardio Miracle, one of the things that I've noticed is going from 90 supplements, which you can actually become kind of supplement sick, distilling that down to Cardio Miracle because it covers almost every single base. I'll add some omega-3, and if I need iron, I'll take an iron supplement. But pretty much, you're going to get everything else in the Cardio Miracle.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a very comprehensive product. Like I
Yeah,
said, we
it's
believe in
comprehensive.
products.
And you know what? And I'll say too, it's comprehensive. But here's the thing: it really lowers the cost, right?
Mhm.
It's what $1.27 a serving, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so you can replace the supplements that you're taking with Cardio Miracle. And like I said, I would add and maybe iodine, an iodine supplement, omega-3 supplement, and maybe an iron if you need it. But everything else, at least for most people, it's all in Cardio Miracle. And John Hewlett, the founder, really had a heart to say, look, there are a lot of diseases out there and they have a lot of kind of common origin. So if we can provide the appropriate food supplementation to allow your body's natural systems to work well, your body can address a lot of these disease processes. And so that's exactly what's happened.
Amazing, amazing answer, Dr. Avery. All
Thanks.
right, we'll move on to the next question. Um, I seem to have some bruising in the recent days. Could this be due to the effects of NO? How would I know?
So I think that's gonna be a little bit of a tougher challenge. Now, NO per se is not a true anticoagulant. Okay, so the nice thing about Cardio Miracle is it works to make the I mean the platelets and the hemoglobin and the red blood cells more flexible. It helps dilate the blood vessels, and all those things are great. But it's just like anything else. If you're eating a good amount of vegetables and fruits, it's going to balance out your how thin your blood is, right? Vitamin E,
Hmm.
for instance, and so that's all good. So I wouldn't be concerned early on at all. I think if you notice more bruising, I would see your clinician. But again, you're basically eating, just really good food is what we're talking about here for the most part. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Um, all right, we'll just keep on going.
yeah.
I really like the taste of Cardio Miracle, but I have a real hard time drinking it on an empty stomach. What are the negative effects of drinking it with food?
And if I could, I'll say this, it's not that you can't drink it with food. Food's fine. Our issue is that if you're eating a heavy load of protein, right, like meat, then we want to make sure that you're able to get all the good nutrients absorbed appropriately from the Cardio Miracle. So we ask that you would wait 20 minutes, either before or after, a protein ingestion, and go with the Cardio Miracle. So you don't have to have it on an empty stomach necessarily. Also, you can put this in smoothies. It's great. You can put it in orange juice, apple juice. So there's a lot of variation there, which is completely fine. It's not like a medication where there's a major interaction other than the protein, and that's only because we want you to take full advantage of all the ingredients and nutrients that are in it and get those absorbed.
Hmm. No, and that's a great answer. And we do find a special nuance for people who are diabetic. They get great benefit drinking it directly after meal. It doesn't matter which type, because it's going to increase the blood volume and the glucose uptake within the blood.
That's right.
All
Right on,
right.
Dave.
Yeah. All right. We got a question from Will. I really like the taste of Cardio Miracle, but I have a real hard time drinking it on an empty stomach.
Right.
Oh, that was the one I just read.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you take AG1 athletic greens mixed in with Cardio Miracle 2 times a day?
So here's the thing. It's like what you're asking basically is like saying I've got a full bowl of broccoli from Cardio Miracle, plus lycopenes, plus spinach, plus a whole bunch of other nutritional organic food substances. So I guess my question would be, well, why would you need to take it and Cardio Miracle? It'd be my first question. Now, do I think there's going to be an interaction? Probably not. I would imagine you can eat just about as much of greens as you want, but my question is why? I mean, because what I would normally do is if I need to, I'll double or triple up on the Cardio Miracle. And that way, like if I have more inflammation or if I'm noticing that I need a little bit more nutrition, then for me, by increasing the Cardio Miracle gives more concentration of all of the nutrients that are already in there. And there is a ton, and especially in terms of green leafy vegetables.
Yes, amazing. Yeah, we are very comprehensive. And, sometimes it's just redundant to keep, spending money on stuff that's already in our product, or that's just going to go to waste within your system because we cover everything across the board except for maybe your fats and your probiotics.
Yep.
All right, we got a Barbara. How about the need for mineral supplement bioavailability?
Yeah. And Barbara, I'll tell you again, the reason that I personally, as a neurosurgeon, the reason that I am so sold on Cardio Miracle and I'm excited to tell people about it, is because we do need those minerals and those nutrients, and Cardio Miracle has them. Like literally, when if you look at the ingredient list, and you'll get an idea of what it provides. It's so much that it's almost a meal replacement for some. And so again, my recommendation would be you can begin with the recommended 2 scoops, twice a day in terms of servings, and my recommendation is to increase the servings if you need. I mean, I have some people who they hurt their knee and there's inflammation, so they'll go up to 3 servings a day, no problem. And now they're getting everything that they need.
Great, amazing. Yeah, sometimes I take 3 a day. I know people who want
Yeah.
to take 4 a day. And the worst thing that can happen is it'll increase the detoxification effect. So if that's something you're looking for, it can really help assist with whatever you're trying to heal.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next question from Kim. Can it help heal the pancreas?
Well, so Kim, and that's interesting, right? So when we talk about the pancreas, we're looking at our glucagon and then insulin kind of directly and indirectly, and blood sugars in general. So Cardio Miracle actually helps with actually having a low glycemic index. So it helps with sugar regulation in general. Another nice thing is that it increases autophagy, which is also a huge help when we talk about residual proteins and foreign bodies that are in our body. It helps with that. And remember, we had mentioned how it increases the microvascular circulation. So it does this, it increases circulation and therefore oxygenation throughout the entire body, including the pancreas. One of the big issues we find, and especially even in the kidney, is something called prerenal azotemia, and that has everything to do with blood flow. So likewise for the pancreas. So when you're able to provide better blood flow, then that really helps to improve the pancreatic function.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can have massive benefits on every organ in the body that has a blood vessel attached to it.
That's right.
All right. Walter, according to your research, what percentage of plaque is removed from the arteries?
Right. And so Walter, great question. Here's the thing. So I don't have any post-mortem studies at this juncture. But we do know based on indirect studies that the plaque itself decreases and there's more flow. And that's one of the reasons that the blood pressure comes down. Someone asked the question about that. Well, the whole point is that if your brain in particular isn't getting enough blood flow, it doesn't see enough pressure head of blood, then it will help to try to dilate the blood vessels, or I should say constrict, and so you can get more blood, right? Likewise, your body in general, the blood pressure is going to go up when it has to force flow, the blood flow. So when we're able to not only dilate, but then really have the blood vessels and arteries, but when we're able to then decrease the plaque and therefore decrease the obstruction of the blood vessels, that affects and regulates blood pressure. So we have many, many indirect ways that we're able to observe that.
Great, great answer. And I have a close to a personal testimony with that, with a 420 triglyceride and a 250 cholesterol score. I was able to regulate my cholesterol with that and bring them down to 150, 160. Now that it wouldn't really work as a percentage because it sometimes it'll go up and it'll come down. So again, it's about consistent use of the product to kind of stay ahead of those plaques if your body tends to build them up fast.
Yeah, great
All
question. That's a
right.
great answer, David.
Thanks.
Huh?
All right, Rita, can you use liquid zeolite gut and body detox in Cardio Miracle? Also, would this be good for anemia?
So and again, um, I think the zeolite, and you're going to perform a detox. I think that's wonderful. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. My personal preference, though, is that I would rather do like a cardio miracle cleanse. So, because it'll actually help to detox the system. And so what that looks like for me would be a 10-day fast with just Cardio Miracle. And you'll find that you'll lose weight, but you're still getting kind of nutrition in. And it's a wonderful thing because you also don't have such a craving versus a water fast. And so that would be my recommendation. Again, if you're going to go with another detox, that's fine. But I would suggest then that you hold on the Cardio Miracle, take care of your detox, and then get back on the Cardio Miracle.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, zeolite is known to have its uses, so it's not going to be
Yep.
harmful at all. Zeolite's a very mild product, so
Yep.
it's good to take.
Yep.
All right. Dr. Avery, are you available for virtual consultation regarding cardiovascular issues with the stent? Are you familiar with Nutritional Frontiers, DMG, SPM, and the proline greens recommended by Dr. Judy Mikovits? Are you able to advise during your consultation how to get off the statins and the blood thinners and how to get connected with you?
So a couple things. So yeah, I mean, we can do a virtual visit. You can actually go to info at the body healthcare .com. And, I'm sorry, info at the body healthcare .com, and that my scheduler will connect you to me to schedule an appointment, and that'd be fine. Regarding the stents, I would follow the advice of the surgeon who put the stents in, or the endovascular surgeon in particular. But we would be happy to help in any other way if we can supplement what's being, uh, in any other way that we can.
Amazing, amazing. And maybe we'll try to link your info after at the end of
Yeah,
the call so people can get in contact with you if they'd like. We could just get your
sure,
email address in there or something in the chat.
sure.
All right. Jamie, I use cayenne pepper nattokinesin as blood thinners. Is that okay? And I also take hawthorn berry for BP. We do contain some hawthorn berry. So, again, it's all
There we go.
comprehensive. We want it to work together.
Yeah, that's right. And the nattokinase, I think again, nattokinase is fine. No problem there. Hawthorne berry, as Dave said, it's already in the Cardio Miracle.
Mhm.
So again, and I really do mean this, is that we're trying, and John Hewlett, the founder, as you'll know, his heart is how can we give people the Cadillac version of a nutritional supplement that covers a lot of bases at reasonable costs. So that's kind of his thoughts, and being able to get a serving down to $1.27, but yet provide people with a whole host of nutrition is absolutely amazing. So, and I'm saying that to say, take advantage of the savings with such a high quality product.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's about $400 on standalone ingredients. I believe we did the math one time, and that's what we came up with. So it's really a good deal to just get it all in one, save the money, and buy in bulk. All right, Elisa, if we are taking CD water for oxidation, how long should we wait after taking Cardio Miracle since it has antioxidants so it does not cancel each other out?
So, and I think that's a great question. Um, you know, I'm I'm completely fine with going with the water, as well as Cardio Miracle, because you understand that your body is also really smart in terms of how it takes in organic vegetables and organic substances and fruits. And so my advice would be continue on your regimen, keep the Cardio Miracle going, and then I would adjust the amount of Cardio Miracle. You may need more than just the serving of 2 scoops twice a day. but
Mhm.
I don't see a problem at all.
Great. Great. All right, we're going to answer this question in the chat from Diana. Has anyone ever experienced itching when taking Cardio Miracle? I've been using it for over a week and experienced itching.
So, we've had, it's pretty rare. And so
Mhm.
one of the things that you want to look at is why, right? I mean, could the itching be because now you're getting more blood flow?
Mhm.
Take a look at, and then take a look at if you have any allergies, you know, read the back of the Cardio Miracle and check it out and make sure there's no sensitivities. The vast majority of people don't have any allergies that would preclude them from taking Cardio Miracle. But I think I would, just be cautious and take a look that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people might be a little more sensitive to the arginine, so that could be it. But if it's just itching, then it's probably going to be the blood flow and kind of the waking back up those nerves, like Dr. Avery said. So I have spoken to a couple people who have had that, and they said after a couple weeks it goes away, if not pretty quickly, like within a day or two. So just continue with it, and it'll increase and replace the cells within those capillaries, so you probably don't itch as much.
Right. And exactly. And if you're concerned about an allergic reaction, then if you start to notice the itching involves the mouth, if you notice that your chest is becoming tight, if notice symptoms like that, then you want to make sure you get into a doc and then kind of go from there. Okay. But it's pretty
Yeah.
unusual, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's very uncommon. I've spoken to tens of thousands of people, and I think I spoke to two people that had an arginine sensitivity, and it wasn't even an allergy, it was just a sensitivity. So they just reduced the amount and they continued, and it worked great for them. All right, Diane O, does Cardio Miracle help with pulmonary hypertension? We kind of
Well,
already
now,
answered this, but go on.
yeah, I think you did. So a couple of things. Now remember the beautiful thing about Cardio Miracle and what John Hewlett's heart is about is to say that the body it can heal itself, right? I mean, the immune system when it's getting what it needs and support. So Cardio Miracle is really more of supporting your body's immune system, your body's systems. Once they're getting the nutrition they need, then your body's systems, your metabolism and body systems can really do what they do well. And in terms of pulmonary hypertension, a fairly complex process. But again, when you begin to get the blood flow going to your pulmonary arteries, when now the micro capillaries in your lungs are getting the nutrition they need, the blood flow, the oxygen, a lot changes. So again, the first, we're thinking about a medication, a pill that's going to make the difference in a disease. But what we find is that when you get that nutrition overall and your body is supported across the board, then your body is really smart and it starts to go
Mhm.
after and correct a lot. So
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it wants to regulate itself when we give it the proper nutrition. All right, Suzanne. You may have touched on this already, but will you please explain the mechanism/process on how Cardio Miracle causes arterial plaque and calcification to dissolve? In other words, how does plaque and calcification dissolve?
let's start with how does plaque and calcification actually accumulate? So what's really fascinating, and this is a great study, by the way, when you're looking at the causes that cause defects in the walls of the arteries, it's not only about blood flow, but even emotional stress causes an inflammatory cascade, and over time, that can damage the smooth endovascular wall or the wall with inside your blood vessels, right? So with Cardio Miracle and with the nitric oxide, L-arginine, citrulline, ornithine, that actually works to decrease and dampen the inflammatory response, the bad side, and that process actually occurs right across the one cell layer of those the blood vessel walls, right? So just with that alone, you're encouraging the amount of nitric oxide that you have in your system, the nitric oxide flow and metabolism that goes across the blood vessel. based on an amazing formula. Dr. Malinsky in Ohio, who won the Nobel Prize for nitric oxide, was really impressed in terms of how Cardio Miracle was able to sustain nitric oxide production and sustainability across the blood vessel wall. I mean, for over 20 hours compared to just minutes. And
Hmm.
so you can imagine that when you have a process that's decreasing inflammation and supporting your body's reparative mechanisms, then that's what will decrease the plaque and the calcification, because the lining of the wall actually begins to heal. So it's a fascinating process.
Great, amazing answer. I'm learning a bunch from you, Dr. Avery. This is amazing. Can Cardio Miracle help with someone that is anemic and also for someone that has gastroparesis? Did I
So
say
that's
that correctly?
yeah, gastroparesis. So your peristalsis, or the muscles, kind of the natural muscle spasm in tandem that helps to get the food into from your esophagus into your stomach and then into your intestines. So that process gets slowed down. Well, there are a number of reasons. One is your hydrochloric acid pump. Your acid base can be thrown off. Also, again, here we go back to blood flow. So when you have good reestablished microcirculation and blood flow to the muscles of your gut, then that can help reestablish the gastroparesis, which is the movement. And so again, my recommendation is, you want to be on this 3 to 6 months minimum, and then you should start to see some signal of benefit. And then as you continue, that should also improve, because more blood flow means stronger contractions of the muscles in the gut and around the stomach, as well as to the rest of the organs.
Great. Wow, that's amazing. All right. Next question. How can we remove microplastics from our blood?
So now that's another. So that's a big topic. I mean, there are all kinds of ways that we can detox, and so you have to find what works for you in general. But again, your body has a detox mechanism, and one of those, by the way, is going to be is when you have autophagy. So Cardio Miracle encourages autophagy, and again, autophagy is when the Pac-Man in your immune system will come along and will destroy and substances that shouldn't be there. And so that's definitely one of the many mechanisms. And so Cardio Miracle actually encourages autophagy.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't break a fast. We don't meet any of the caloric sugar intakes or calorie intakes to do so. All right. Walter, my main reason for taking Cardio Miracle was for my mental clarity, which has helped tremendously, but it has helped with my hair. My hair is thicker and fills in thin spots. I've been using Cardio Miracle since 2001. Oh, you're muted, Dr. Avery.
I apologize. Thanks, Dave. Think that's awesome, Walter. And think about that, because the Cardio Miracle, it's reestablishing blood flow everywhere, right? And so we have what are called apocrine glands and are in hair follicles. And so when you're getting that right amount of blood flow to those glands, it's going to produce hair growth, but also your stem cells, right? Um, in a nutshell, there was a study looking at people who had cognitive issues in their brain, for instance, and what they thought was that for older people, their stem cells weren't working because the population of stem cells was less. But it turns out on autopsy, when they compared younger and the older population who died suddenly, both groups, the number of stem cells was the same, but what was different was the blood flow. So again, Cardio
Hmm.
Miracle is a champion at dealing with blood flow. So hats off to you, Walter. And since 2021, you can see that it takes some time for your body to get used to really good nutrition. But once it does, it'll start to build once it catches up. Most of us are really nutrient depleted
Mhm.
based on, and even some of the organics that we get, the soil can be depleted. And so it takes some time. But again, the consistency with the Cardio Miracle clears up your brain from what I just mentioned, as well as your hair. And people do well.
Great. No, great answer. We are running out of questions, but I wanted to highlight something in the comments. Jamie says she's in the hospital right now to rule out a heart attack. All seems well. They won't let me take Cardio Miracle. Could we maybe hit on how Cardio Miracle can be positive for recovery from somebody who potentially had a heart attack, or how it could be preventative of a heart attack?
Sure. One of the things that I would suggest is if they don't know about Cardio Miracle, one of the things you can say is you can say it's like V8. Because as a neurosurgeon, often a lot of my patients, when I would round in the hospital, they'd have a V8 can with with the vegetables right there, and that was never a problem. So unless they're going to have a problem with V8, then that's one thing. But that's one of the recommendations that I would have is say, listen, this is just like V8, and that way it'll be familiar to the nurses and others, and say, but it's just in powder form, and try that, and that should be helpful because recovery is really important. When you have surgeries, your muscles are fatigued, you have anesthetic agents on board, your body has to go into that reparative mode. And so by having that blood flow and getting that nutrition in, it helps to speed up recovery in general. So again, I would go with the V8 and say this is kind of similar. And more likely than not, they shouldn't give you a hard time because we serve V8 in hospitals all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Take it from the doctor. All right. It looks like we actually got this question got asked a few times, but it was lumped in with other questions. So how can Cardio Miracle help with anemia? You're muted again.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, David? How does it help with what?
Yeah. Yeah. How can Cardio Miracle help with anemia?
Yeah, thanks. So with anemia, remember there was a question earlier that someone asked, and it had to do with osteoporosis and the vitamin D.
Hmm.
So your hemopoietic system, your blood system, is supplied primarily by your bone marrow. Okay. And so the vitamin D, among some of the other ingredients, Cardio Miracle, help to facilitate that process to make red blood cells and to make platelets. And so that Cardio Miracle can really help in that process because again, it's just supporting your natural systems, and that would be the hematopoietic system in your bones. And then also with liver, same thing. When you have the appropriate amount of liver blood flow, then that's going to facilitate adjusting the anemia. Now, of course, you also want to make sure that you've got a clinician on board that can take a look at your systems and find out if there's some major root cause, right? So you want to make sure that that happens. But again, Cardio Miracle is something that should be second nature and something that you're taking consistently, minimum one serving a day. And oftentimes, if there's anemia and there are other problems, 2 or 3 servings a day is what I'd recommend.
Wow, that's a great answer, Dr. Avery. All right. We got another one in here. Crazy question. Can you give this to your senior pet? Yes. What would the dose be? Sorry to think this is a crazy notion.
Well, if I could, and I'll mention from the last question, by the way, Cardio Miracle has beets in it too, which is great for blood, okay? Um, and yeah, and by the way, for pets, pets have natural mechanisms just like humans do, right? So I think you should go for it. Now, remember, the nice thing about Cardio Miracle, it is a food, it's a superfood. And so it's not a medication that has a lot of preservatives or that is foreign to most human or most living systems, right? So my advice is that for a pet, you can try half of what would be as opposed to 2 scoops. Start with 1 scoop a day and see how things go.
No, great answer. I've given it to my pet. She drank it for about 3 days and then scoffed at it after that. And she loves it, but she doesn't want it all the time. So it's just kind of like the dog will almost know when it wants it and when it'll utilize it based off of, it's smelling it really.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
How can it help with hormone balance and deficiencies?
Right. So that's another great question. Um so you've there's a lot in there with the NAC. You've got the lion's mane, glutathione. There are a lot of precursors in there, taurine. So there are a lot of minerals and nutrients that are needed to build on your endocrine system. Okay. And so when you're getting all that you need um, for your endocrine system, for your hormones, then again, your body will kick in and it'll produce those hormones. And again, when you look at the beets and you look at what it does in terms of energy, it's absolutely fascinating. I'm convinced that one of the biggest issues for all of us ultimately comes down to blood flow and inflammation. So when we're able to uh, encourage good blood flow and decrease inflammation, I think that's when our systems can be uninhibited, unencumbered to continue to do what they're supposed to do, including your endocrinologic system.
Great, amazing. All right, we're going to ask one last question. We did go over the blood pressure a little bit, so I'm going to do this one from Carrie Ann. I know Cardio Miracle has a ton of stuff in it, but there is anything else I should be taking? Probiotics, fish oil. I know it depends on each individual, but general human should I be taking anything else with it, new to supplements and trying to get healthy?
Right. Well, so a couple of things. Those are great questions. You got to remember, no matter what, you've got to have your water. There are so many people I find that really don't like to drink water. Now, the nice thing is with Cardio Miracle, it's like hope in a glass, and it has the spark of life in it, right? The nitric oxide. And the good thing is, and I'm so glad that John Hewlett, the founder, created the formulation the way that he did, so that it's a powder that goes in water. Why? Because people are not drinking enough water. So that's a big plug. And Cardio Miracle, I believe, encourages water intake. You should be drinking at least half of your body weight in ounces of water per day, at least. So if I weigh 200 pounds, let's say, I should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. And again, the encouragement is you can put your Cardio Miracle in that water when you're drinking it, okay? Number one. Number two, for me, I find that Cardio Miracle is complete. The only pieces that I add to Cardio Miracle would be like a cod liver oil. And with cod liver oil, you can go up anywhere from 4 grams up to 16 grams actually of the omega-3, omega-6. So the cod liver oil and iodine and that you can do your research on. And then besides that would be iron if you need to do that. But besides those, like Cardio Miracle actually has so much in it. It's got over 50 ingredients and nutrients in there, and they work synergistically. So they actually support each other and then support the nitric oxide, which helps to, again, work on decreasing inflammation, works on increasing blood flow and vasculature from your brain all the way to your toes.
Great, amazing. Okay, I said that was the last question, but I misread this one, so it is a different question. We should definitely cover it.
Sure.
Cardio Miracle and low blood pressure. And then can you tell us about kind of finish up and tell us about your book a little bit?
Okay,
And I
we'll
think
do.
that'll be the last question for us.
Yeah, sounds
And
good, Dave. Yeah. So the thing is regarding the low blood pressure. So, kind of remember for most of us, our bodies are responsive to what we need when we need it. Now, low blood pressure can also be falsely lowered if we're on beta blockers, and that's called polypharmacy. That's when they're, especially in the elderly population, docs will be treating blood pressure and treat so many things, and they forget to take away medications. So oftentimes people have a lowered blood pressure because of that. So I'd be thinking about that, number one. Number two, back to your water. When your tank is full, your blood pressure would be regulated. When your tank is empty, you're dry, and so the pressure head of blood that goes to your brain is going to be less. And oftentimes people can sit up quickly and get faint or pass out, and oftentimes it's because they're not well hydrated. Okay, so I just want to make sure I cover that with you. Also, as your body is regulating the as your body is getting the nutrition it needs, then it will adjust the blood pressure accordingly. Okay. So again, can't overemphasize that. And again, it's going to give it 3 to 6 months and see what happens. If you're noticing that you're trending in the wrong direction, of course, you always want to go to your clinician and have them check you out. Make sure there's nothing unusual like bleeding or some other reason that your blood pressure would be low. Okay. Now, regarding my book, there's a book. It's called The God Prescription, and our latest version that you can go to Amazon, you can go to the website, thegodprescription.com, and get that book. And it talks about spiritual, emotional, and physical wellness. One of the things that I really like about the book is we've just added several chapters of Cardio Miracle because we are a spirit, we have a soul, which is our mind, will, and emotion, and we live in a physical body, our earth suit. And you got to take care of your earth suit, okay? And that's where Cardio Miracle and the Cardio Miracle story comes in because it does such a wonderful job. And think about it. It does a great job without hurting you, right? A lot of medications, most medications can have some side effect or some toxicity. But again, you're dealing with a superfood with superfruit and super vegetables, which is kind of God given, right? And so that's what we talk about in the book, and how to be wise with your diet, and the Cardio Miracle story, which is just fascinating. So it fits in the book perfectly. We start out with spirit and what does it mean to be spiritually healthy, and we move on to case studies of emotional wellness, and then from there we move on to some case studies and examples of physical wellness, and part of that, of course, is going to be the Cardio Miracle story, because we're finding that when you're getting the nutrition that you need, that your body will thank you. Okay. And then that will decrease your rate of certain organs breaking down, and other problems that compound when you're getting that basic nutrition. And so for everybody out there, I mean, and if my heart intent would be to make sure that every single human being takes Cardio Miracle, then that would make me really happy, because what will happen is that all the docs, we'd all go out of business. And that's what we want, right? We want people to be so healthy and really taking care of their systems so well that all the docs go out of business. So why don't you guys try to make that happen for us, right? By getting your Cardio Miracle in every day, and tell friends about it, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Avery. Everybody give Dr. Avery a thumbs up or a thank you in the comments, the chat, if you know how to do that. We really appreciate your time. Those were great answers. I learned a bunch, and I'm still learning. There's so much to this health stuff. Maybe I should went to medical school like you, but I appreciate you, Dr. Avery. You are a wise man. So make sure you go pick up his book at agodprescription.com.
Yeah.
Or on Amazon. He's available as well. And Dr. Avery is also available at info. What was your email address, Dr.
Yeah,
Avery? Info at?
info at thebodyhealthcare.com. Info at thebodyhealthcare.com.
Okay, great. And if you have other specific questions that you would like to ask me or Cardio Miracle in general, you can always shoot us a email at support@cardiomiracle.com. And also check in the comments, make sure you send this to your friends so that they can sign up and watch it and ask us questions if they're interested. So we really appreciate your time tonight, and we hope to see you in 2 weeks. And thank you very much. Have a great night.
Okay, God bless you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.